It's midnight and you're tuning into Nightline with me, Azaria Tagaya. The top stories. Serious COVID-19 cases to be new indicator for phased transitions under recovery plan. And new daily cases top 20k for first time, death toll crosses 10k mark. Good morning. At least 40% of the adult population in Johor will be vaccinated by the end of August as the number of vaccine deliveries to the state is increased. Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said the number of vaccine doses to be delivered to Johor would be increased to 1.5 million compared to the initial 1.3 million doses. The Prime Minister said he was in Johor to sort out the vaccine situation in the state because Sultan Ibrahim Sultan Iskandar and the Tunku Mahkota of Johor, Tunku Ismail Sultan Ibrahim, have issued statements regarding the matter.
Saya dah minta supaya Yang Muhammad, saudara KJ, yang menguruskan ini bersama dengan Menteri Kesihatan Dr. Adham, melihat situasi di negeri Johor macam mana yang telah dibuat untuk negeri-negeri lain. Kerana saya lihat di Johor ni masih ke bawah. Lebih kurang 20% berapa peratus saja berbanding dengan setengah negeri sampai yang dah lebih 60-70%. Jadi saya telah mengarahkan pada menteri supaya mengkaji, dan yang terkini tadi sebelum saya sampai sini dia dah adakan perbincangan dengan menteri besar dan dikatakan sekurang-kurang 1.5 million dos akan dihantar ke Johor. Ini adalah naik daripada 1.3 million. Ini peringkat awal.
The PM was speaking to the media after visiting the mobile vaccination centre at Felda Lingga Batu 27 in Pagoh on Thursday. Tan Sri Muhyiddin said the issue arose because the vaccines ordered by the government did not arrive as scheduled. He said with the increase in vaccine supply, the government hopes to increase the daily vaccination rate in Johor from 50,000 a day to 60,000 a day. The number of new COVID-19 cases used as an indicator for the transition to phase 2, 3 and further for the National Recovery Plan NRP will be replaced by the number of new serious cases using hospital admissions. The NRP's coordinating minister, Datuk Sri Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz, however, said indicators of vaccination rate and ICU use are still maintained.
Setelah mencapai kadar vaksinasi 40% penduduk dewasa dan ke atas, bilangan kes baharu COVID menjadi kurang relevan kerana kebanyakan kes adalah kes yang tidak bergejala ataupun bergejala ringan, iaitu kategori 1 dan 2, sekaligus mengurangkan beban terhadap infrastruktur kesihatan awam. Apa yang lebih penting dalam pemantauan dan penilaian peralihan ke fasa 3 dan selanjutnya adalah kes bergejala serius, iaitu kategori 3, 4 dan 5.
Datuk Sri Tengku Zafrul, who was also the finance minister, said the observations were made based on data and science and international experience, in addition to monitoring in Sarawak and Labuan. Based on the Health Ministry's assessment, the threshold value for the transition of phase 2 to 3 is the hospital admission rate of 3 cases per 100,000 of the population, or equivalent to 1,000 daily cases nationwide. For the transition of phase 3 to 4, the entry threshold value is 1.3 cases per 100,000 of the population, or equivalent to 400 daily cases. The nation recorded its highest ever COVID-19 daily infection rate at 20,596, surpassing Wednesday's high of 19,819 cases in a single day. The death toll, meanwhile, surpassed the 10,000 level. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said Selangor alone accounted for 8,549 new cases, followed by Kuala Lumpur and Kedah. According to the Health Ministry, 164 fatalities were reported, bringing the total number of deaths to 10,019. In the intensive care unit, there were 1,078 patients, with 549 of them requiring respiratory assistance. Of the 33 new clusters reported, 18 were related to workplaces. The Health Ministry has announced that Malaysia has granted conditional approval for the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. Its Director General, Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah, said this was decided at a Drug Control Authority meeting on Thursday. Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham said the conditional registration approval requires information on the quality, safety and effectiveness of the vaccine product to be monitored and evaluated based on the latest data from time to time to ensure that the benefits outweigh the risks. So far, vaccines that have gained approval for Malaysia's national COVID-19 immunisation program are those from Pfizer-BioNTech, AstraZeneca, Sinovac, Sinopharm, Johnson & Johnson and CanSino. Several initiatives are being taken by the Greater Klang Valley Special Task Force to overcome the healthcare challenges currently faced by medical facilities in the area. Its commander, Datuk Dr. Chong Chi Kiong, said the task force was ramping up capacity at hospitals that were treating COVID-19. GKV Special Task Force Commander Datuk Dr. Chong Chi Kiong said the capacity of beds in public and private hospitals treating COVID-19 patients in the Greater Klang Valley area will be increased by repurposing some areas in the hospitals into patient wards. He said another initiative, namely outsourcing non-COVID-19 patients to private hospitals, was also being done to further free up more beds in the hospitals for use by COVID-19 patients. The ambulance service is also upgraded with the cooperation of numerous agencies, including the Malaysian Civil Defence Force, Fire and Rescue Department and non-government organisations, NGOs, such as the Malaysian Red Crescent Society. In addition, home isolations and virtual monitorings by the COVID-19 Assessment Centres, CACs, are being conducted for COVID-19 patients with mild and no symptoms. To date, in the Greater Klang Valley area, there are 29 public hospitals and 51 private hospitals, as well as 2 low-risk treatment centres, PKRCs, including 4 full COVID-19 hospitals, namely the Ampang, Selayang, Sungai Buloh and Serdang hospitals.
Gearing up for the future with new strategies and practices by investing in technologies. Staying competitive in the new business and economic environment with technology capabilities. Money Matters speaks to IDC ASEAN Managing Director Sudif Banga with me, Muhammad Ahmad Hamdan, on Saturday at 5 p.m. only on TV3.
Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia Bersatu Deputy President Datuk Seri Ahmad Faizal Azumu has been appointed as Special Advisor to Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin. In a statement, the Prime Minister's Office, PMO, said the appointment is with ministerial status. As to the role of Datuk Seri Ahmad Faizal, the PMO said he will be responsible for advising the Prime Minister on matters of community networking, communications and socio-economic development. The PMO congratulated Datuk Seri Ahmad Faizal, who is also Tambun Member of Parliament and former Perak Menteri Besar. Malaysians are expected to be allowed to visit Saudi Arabia, including to perform the Umrah pilgrimage this year. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Religious Affairs, Datuk Dr. Zulkifli Muhammad Al-Bakri, however, said this would depend on the current COVID-19 situation and vaccination rate in Malaysia, as well as the situation and permission from Saudi Arabia.
Apabila keadaannya memungkinkan, sebagaimana ketika kita membina SOP dahulu, kita melihat kepada 2 situasi. Satu dalam negara dan satu di negara yang kita ingin kunjungi, yakni Arab Saudi. Jadi SOP yang kita bina itu adalah peraturan yang terkait negara kita dan juga negara mereka. Setakat ini kita harapkan supaya isu berkaitan dengan penyebaran pandemik COVID ini dapat diredakan dengan sebaik mungkin dan sama-sama vaksinasi dapat diperbanyakkan.
The minister was speaking to the media after visiting Mahat Darul Quran Rusila in Marang, Terengganu. He said the approval would also depend on the SOPs established by the Health Ministry and the National Security Council, as well as the SOPs finalised by the Saudi government. Saudi Arabia had reopened its doors to tourists from 49 countries, including Malaysia, since August 1st, by simplifying procedures and obtaining an entry visa for a period of 1 year and allowing a stay of up to 90 days in the kingdom. The Selangor International Business Summit, or SIBS 2021, which returns this year in hybrid mode, is seen as an opportunity for the state to showcase local businesses to ASEAN and international markets. SIBS also aims to present Selangor as a hub for potential investors to expand their investment plans in the country while seeking solid grounds in the ASEAN region and the global markets, despite the economic uncertainties brought about by the pandemic. 6 key components will be emphasized throughout this year's event, including the Selangor International F&B Expo, the Selangor ASEAN Business Conference SABC, as well as the Selangor Smart City and Digital Economy Convention SDEC. SIBS 2021 is also expanding its offerings with new programs such as the Selangor International Medic Expo, which focuses on medical equipment and pharmaceutical products and services, and the Selangor Industrial Park Expo, which shines light on industrial park operators in the state. This year's event is also that much more significant as it is seen as an important step in the process of economic recovery and re-emergence for small and medium enterprises (SMEs) after being impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic.
The hybrid organizations of SIBS 2021 is expected to have re-energize their businesses that have been affected because of the travel restrictions due to the pandemic. Based on our experience in organizing virtual SIBS 2020 last year, we have added new features into SIBS 2021, such as the monthly B2B meetings or business-to-business meetings for our F&B exhibitors starting last April, which instantly became a hit. Since then, a total of 66 business meetings had been organized for 16 buyers from 8 countries with our selected virtual SIE F&B exhibitors.
Interestingly, in the past, manufacturers of durian-based products managed to penetrate the market in Myanmar following the program carried out in April, while palm cooking oil traders managed to secure buyers from the United Arab Emirates UAE last May. Commenting on the SIBS physical exhibition this year, Dato' Hassan explained that it would be implemented in accordance with strict standard operating procedures as approved by the National Security Council. Participants can take part in SIBS 2021 either by visiting the physical event at the Kuala Lumpur Convention Centre and on the Selangor Business Hub portal throughout the duration of the program, which runs from November 18th to 21st. Coming up, Syed Saddiq claims trial to 2 charges of money laundering. Back with us on Nightline, MUA Member of Parliament Syed Saddiq Syed Abdul Rahman has claimed trial to 2 charges of money laundering at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court involving a total of 100,000 ringgit. The 29-year-old, who is also former Youth and Sports Minister, pleaded not guilty after the charges were read to him before Sessions Judge Dato' Ahmad Kamal Arifin Ismail on Thursday. According to the 2 charges, Syed Saddiq was accused of transferring 50,000 ringgit each from his Maybank Islamic Berhad account into his Amanah Saham Bumiputra account, which was allegedly the result of illegal activities. The act was allegedly committed at Maybank Taman Perling, Johor Bahru on June 16th and 19th, 2018. He was charged under the Prevention of Money Laundering, Prevention of Financing of Terrorism and Proceeds from Illegal Activities Act 2001 and punishable under the same act. If convicted, it provides for a maximum jail sentence of 15 years and a fine of not less than 5 times the amount or proceeds of illegal activities. The court allowed for the same bail against Syed Saddiq that was imposed on him when facing his charges at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court. The court also allowed the case to be transferred to Kuala Lumpur and fixed September 10th for next mention of the case at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court. A People's Volunteer Corps or Rela personnel who was on Wednesday charged with the murder of his best friend was once again brought before the Terengganu Sessions Court on Thursday. This time, 57-year-old Ong Chow Lee was charged with the attempted murder of 45-year-old Teo Hok Beng, who is the nephew of his murdered best friend. The accused pleaded guilty to the charge, which was read to him before Judge Nuriah Osman. Ong was alleged to have committed the act in Taman Raya Wakaf Tapai on July 23rd. He was charged under Section 307 of the Penal Code, which provides a maximum jail term of 20 years if convicted. The court set October 17th for case management. Just a day before, Ong had been charged in the Marang Magistrates Court with the murder of the Taman Raya Neighbourhood Watch Deputy Chairman, 65-year-old Fong Swee Fuan, who is also his best friend at the same location and time. Malaysia's per capita income is expected to increase, but much will depend on the economic recovery this year. Chief Statistician Datuk Seri Muhammad Uzair Mahidin said the recovery pattern of the economic sectors in the country is expected to be uneven, and this will affect salaries and wages.
Kalau kita berjaya usaha untuk meningkatkan ekonomi digital dan juga penggunaan teknologi dalam kita punya aktiviti ekonomi, dalam jangka panjang, kita amat yakin purata pendapatan yang diukur dari segi gaji dan upah pastinya akan meningkat. Tapi ianya bergantung kepada bagaimana ianya dapat kita realisasikannya pada jangka masa sedang.
Speaking after the presentation of the State Socio-Economic Report 2020 virtually on Thursday, he said for the short term, the priority is on workers returning to work in sectors that have been affected. Commenting on economic performance, he pointed out that although all states posted negative growth, 8 states including Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, Johor and Sarawak registered better growth magnitude. This compared to the 5.6% contraction at the national level. Proton has unveiled its facelifted Iriz and Persona with new enhanced features for passengers' comfort and safety. Other than the fresh exterior appeal, Proton also updated the infotainment system for better connectivity while retaining Proton's trademark driving experience. Proton EDA Chief Executive Officer Roslan Abdullah said both models have received the 5-star ASEAN CAP rating and comes with a comprehensive list of safety features. The safety features include reinforced body structure using hot-press formed steel, electronic stability control, traction control system and hill hold assist. The most noticeable interior change, an 8-inch floating infotainment head unit with voice command to control the air conditioning and driver's window. The 2022 Proton Iriz and Persona are available for online booking. After the break, Indonesia finds COVID deaths more than 3 times higher for the unvaccinated. Thanks for staying with us. The COVID-19 death rate for people in the Indonesian capital of Jakarta who were not vaccinated was more than 3 times higher than those who were. According to new Health Ministry data, the mortality rate of those who were not vaccinated was 15.5% compared with 4.1% for those who had received 2 shots of either the Sinovac or AstraZeneca vaccine. This is based on data from state hospitals and almost 68,000 patients in Jakarta from May to July. In Indonesia, 18% of the population have had 1 dose of a vaccine, while 8% are fully vaccinated. The Southeast Asian country has been overwhelmed in recent months by a rapid spike in coronavirus cases, and on Wednesday it passed a grim milestone, recording a total of more than 100,000 fatalities from COVID-19. Grappling with the spread of the highly transmissible Delta variant that was first identified in India, Indonesia has quickly become Asia's coronavirus epicenter, now recording more than 3.5 million cases in total since the start of the pandemic. Germany and France will go ahead with COVID-19 vaccine boosters from September, disregarding an appeal by the World Health Organization (WHO) to hold off until more people are vaccinated across the globe. The decision to press ahead with booster shots, despite the strongest statement yet from the WHO, highlights the challenge of dealing with a global pandemic while countries try to protect their own citizens from the more infectious Delta variant. French President Emmanuel Macron said France was working on rolling out third COVID-19 vaccine doses to the elderly and vulnerable from September. Germany, meanwhile, intends to give boosters to immunocompromised patients with the very elderly and nursing home residents from September. On Wednesday, WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus called for a halt to vaccine boosters until at least the end of September, saying it was unacceptable for rich countries to use more of the global vaccine supply. High-income countries administered around 50 doses for every 100 people in May, and that number has since doubled. Low-income countries have only been able to administer 1.5 doses for every 100 people due to lack of supplies. In other news, Turkish Coast Guards evacuated hundreds of villagers from a burning power plant on Thursday, and Greek firefighters battled a major blaze near the ancient Olympic site as a record heatwave wreaked havoc across Europe's southeast. The two regional rivals have been united this week in their fight against disasters that officials and experts link to increasingly frequent and intense weather events caused by climate change. The blazes in Greece this week briefly cut off the main road leading to Athens and saw worrying fires break out in Olympia, the birthplace of the Olympic Games that is usually crowded with tourists, and on the island of Evia. Greece deployed large forces near Olympia to protect archaeological sites where the first Olympic Games were held in antiquity. More than 100 blazes were still burning in Greece, and whereas in Turkey, 180 fires, have ignited since July 28th, with more than a dozen of them still active on Wednesday night. So far, 8 people have died and dozens have been hospitalized across the southern coasts of Turkey since the wildfires erupted last week. Now, as we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a look at this landscape photographer and weather photographer who captured stunning time-lapse footages showing the sunset in rural Rollinsford, New Hampshire. Photographer Robert Wright took the time-lapse footage over the course of 30 minutes from his home in Rollinsford. With that, I'm Azaria Tagaya. Thank you for watching and stay safe.